So, I have now seen the Hunger Games movie. Well, actually, I saw it at midnight last night, but I didn't get around to making a video of it yet. But now that I've seen it, I want to make a video stating my impressions on it. Now, I love the Hunger Games series. I read them before the movie was even announced to be made. It was about a year ago or so, I'd say. But I read the books. I loved them for the most part. I really loved the first two, and Mockingjay I just thought was decent, but that's another whole conversation in general. But point is, I loved the first Hunger Games book. In fact, I would say it's a perfect 10 for me. I just really haven't been that drawn into a world since Harry Potter. And so I naturally had some high expectations for this movie. I really wanted it to live up to the good book because I hate when movies don't live up to their books. But I've seen it done, and so I went in with high expectations. I know you're not supposed to do that, but I couldn't help myself, alright? And so I went in hoping for the best, and the signs did look good, honestly. I really thought it was going to be good. And you know what? I was really pleasantly surprised. I mean, I thought it was going to be good, but it was completely good. Like, wow, thing is, like I said, I love the book, so it would have been easy for me to be disappointed as a fan of the book. And I know how a lot of book purists are with the whole it needs to be faithful to the book and all that. And that's the thing. The movie is faithful to the book, and I really like it for that. In fact, naturally, okay, it's a movie, and it's about 2 hours and 20 minutes long as it is, so naturally, some stuff needs to be cut for it to be a movie that's not a few hours long. But the stuff they cut really, it didn't bother me, so I don't think it should bother anyone. But if it bothers you, sorry. But I mean, for the most part, they are very faithful to the book, and I was really happy about that. And in fact, one thing I found interesting was that they even have scenes in the movie that weren't in the book. And I know that's a really big gamble to take when you're putting a book to a movie, because if the added scenes aren't good, then fans are naturally going to be pissed. But see, there were certain moments in the book that, like, they were only mentioned because you only follow Katniss's point of view in the book, and so we don't ever see anything else but that. And that's what I liked. In the movie, they actually have some other stuff going on with the other characters, and it was really interesting. I mean, if you've read the books, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't read the books, you're probably lost as I'm talking, but if you haven't read them, you should, because it's a great series of books. But for those who are fans of the books like I am, I really don't think you'll be disappointed. I certainly wasn't. Everything about it was just great. The cast, especially, oh my god. Jennifer Lawrence, I think is her name, plays Katniss, and I really never saw her in anything else, so I didn't know what to expect from her necessarily, but she just did it perfectly. I mean, I was really pleasantly surprised with her. And I have to say, the actor who I was most worried about was Josh Hutcherson. I'm not a Josh Hutcherson fan. I didn't really like anything else he was in, so I was a little worried because he plays Peeta, who's pretty much the main guy character when you look at it. And thing is, he really played the part well, and I was really surprised because I didn't think he would play it that well, but he did, and everyone else too. Liam Hemsworth as Gale, Woody Harrelson as Haymitch was absolutely perfect. I love Woody Harrelson. I mean, Zombieland, you can't argue that that's great. But yeah, he did a great Haymitch, and Elizabeth Banks as Effie Trinket, Stanley Tucci as Caesar Flickerman, Donald Sutherland as President Snow. They were all just spot on. Like, when you read a character in a book, you obviously picture what they're like in your head, and even if like your image of them isn't necessarily what's shown on screen, they still nail their parts perfectly. Like the friend I was with, he was originally complaining that Haymitch didn't look quite like he thought he would, but then once we saw it, he's like, even if he didn't quite look the way I thought he would, he still played the part perfectly. And I have to agree. I mean, it's just a really cool thing when you have an image of how something is in your head reading a book to see it brought to life on screen. And that's really what all the cast does, and they do it really well. Especially the emotional moments of the movie, like, it just really brings it to life, and it's great. Like I said, the emotional moments are good. The action scenes are epic. There's three really memorable scenes that stick out in my mind. I'm not going to mention them here, but I mean, they were some of my favorite parts in the book, and I was on the edge of my seat still in the movies. I just sat there and I was like, yeah. Sorry, I'm like acting like a fangirl. It's kind of weird, but yeah. Okay, wrap this up. Hunger Games, probably one of the best book to movie adaptations I've ever seen. Probably the best since Harry Potter, in my opinion. But yeah, and it's one of the best movie adaptations. It was. I honestly can't think of anything that I thought was wrong with it. I don't think it could have possibly done better than it did, because for me it was a perfect 10, and I can say that with full honesty. It blew me away. Blew me away. I'm actually speechless, you can tell. I mean, love it. So far it's my movie of the year for 2012, and it's really one of the best movies I've seen in a while. If you're a fan of the book, I really don't think you're going to be disappointed. And if you've never read the book, you really should. And then go see the movie. You can see the movie first if you want, but no, you shouldn't. Yeah. Hunger Games movie is awesome. Go see it.